Hi there, Nicole Webber from Nicole Webber Consulting, coming to you live with 10 at 10, answering 10 questions. Firstly, I want to say thanks so much to Regional Business Connect for the opportunity to share a bit about myself and my business. And it's really great to be part of this group. So a little bit about me. My business is called Nicole Webber Consulting, and I've been in business for, this is my second year. Hi Russell, great to see you there. So I am based in northern New South Wales, but over the course of my 25-year career, I've spent a lot of time working on the Mid-North Coast. I lived on the Mid-North Coast for about 23 years until about 4 years ago. And since starting my business, I've been working with communities right across Australia. So working with arts communities, Aboriginal arts communities in the Northern Territory, working all over New South Wales and in a bunch of other states as well. So the great thing about the kind of work that I do, consulting, coaching and projects, I can pretty much work anywhere. And now we're all using technology, we can, we're all so much more connected as well. So as I say, this is my second year in business. I had a career working in human services, so disability, ageing, education, health, housing, and community development, and had the opportunity a couple of years ago to set up my own consulting business and really enjoy the flexibility and the opportunity to do the work that I really love. All of the work that I do comes from a values base and a perspective that individuals, organisations and communities all have strengths and will all do better when they can know and leverage those strengths to get great results, whether that's creating change, whether that's doing business, whether that's helping people, whatever that might be. So the work that I do now is really aligned with that, and I really love it. So what's my preference for marketing? So I do use Facebook and Instagram, and I do use LinkedIn to connect with different audiences, but a lot of the marketing that I do really happens in person, and it happens directly through networks and talking to people. One of the things that I love to do is share resources, and often I'll have people approach me because of my background managing teams or in HR or managing change, and they'll have a sticky issue or a wicked issue that they're trying to deal with, and so they'll make contact with me and we'll have a bit of a chat, and I'll share with them some resources and what I know. And sometimes, that will lead to us working directly together, or they'll refer somebody else to me. So that's a lot of the way that my marketing happens. What's been my biggest business disaster and how did I turn it around? That's a great question. So I wouldn't say that this was so much a disaster, but I did have a project where there was what we'll call scope creep. And some of you may have experienced this when you take on a project and over a little bit of time and development, it becomes obvious that the project has morphed into something that is unexpected. I've had that happen, and how I resolved it was, the first thing I did was to get advice from other consultants, so people who are really experienced, who've been doing consulting for many more years than I have. And I'm a real believer in drawing on the resources that are in your networks. So one of the things that I did was have a bit of a chat to them to see, is this normal? Is this what I think it is? And they gave me some great strategies. I talked to the client, we had a really clear conversation about expectations and about scope, and we adjusted the project as it needed to be. Russell, mission drift, yes, absolutely. So yeah, it's something that does pretty commonly happen in the project world. So I think that, in every disaster, I guess my own personal philosophy is that everything is a learning opportunity pretty much. And so sometimes it can be hard to see that at the time, but in general, you know, with a bit of reflection and a bit of distance, it's, you know, I often find that those things are really great learning experiences. And for me, it's taught me in future to be much clearer from the outset about expectations. What are my most important business tools? Look, for me, it's those networks and relationships, really. It's being able to draw on the people that I know are experts in their own particular field and who have a lot of experience and can be a sounding board. That's something that I find, you know, is really useful, being somebody who works solo most of the time. And so, yeah, having those networks and relationships with people, strong relationships that have been built. I'm not interested in networking for the sake of networking. I guess, you know, for me, it's not about what somebody else can do for me. It's about how we can resource and support each other. I don't think that there's any relationship that is developed that's wasted. So it might be that, you know, right now I'm having, you know, a lot of contact with people who it doesn't lead to what seems to be an immediate business outcome for me. Like, it's not an immediate connection to a customer or a project, but down the track it may, or it may be, you know, as importantly, that I can connect other people as well. So that's something I really enjoy doing. What is my most prized business system? Okay, I'm not a hugely tech-focused person. I've had a really steep learning curve over the last couple of years, setting up my own website and systems and a whole lot of things. I love working with people, and so the tech stuff, the business system stuff, is something that is slightly more challenging for me. Let's say it's not my biggest strength, but I've always been a fan of the spreadsheet, and I use spreadsheets daily to organise a whole lot of information. And I always have. I've always found that, you know, when I've been trying to get some clarity on something, to, you know, stick it into a spreadsheet often really helps. So, you know, I use systems like spreadsheets, and my calendar I couldn't do without as well. The other thing that I'm really excited about, that I'm working on at the moment, is an online learning platform. And so I'm looking forward to that becoming one of my most prized business systems in the near future. Okay, what is my preference, running a small or a large organisation? Okay, so I've managed teams of where I've been working with up to 3,000 people, and right down to teams of 2 or 3 other people. I have to say that what I really enjoy is working directly with people, where I can support and resource and influence a small or a medium team of people. So I guess that would be my preference. I think I really enjoy working with small to medium teams in large organisations as well, and I do a bit of that. I work with government agencies and local government, state and federal government, and I'm often working with a team within those larger organisations. And again, that's a great opportunity to resource and to create positive change. How do I maintain my work-life balance? Okay, so I often have people asking me when I tell them that I have my own business and I work from home, and, you know, people often say, wow, you must be really self-motivated, and you know, I would just stay in my PJs and sit in front of the TV all day. And look, I think that when you do work for yourself, you know, there's a natural drive that comes with that. You know, your work is what pays the bills. And for me, maintaining work-life balance, though, means that I don't tend to work weekends if I can help it. And I work at the times when I have the most amount of energy. So for me, that might be between 6 in the morning and 2 p.m. And that's when I do my really tricky, heavy work, the really deep thinking work. And I find that, you know, that really helps me keep my energy, particularly if I'm having to work over a really sustained period of time, is doing that really tricky work at those times and doing the peripheral work at other times. I'm really fortunate. I live very close to the beach, and so I can walk on the beach or get out into nature. And so I find that taking a brain break is something that really helps as well. But I know that, you know, I have to look after my health. That includes my mental health as well. And I know that for a lot of people, particularly now, that's really challenging. And, you know, having strategies in place and getting the support that you need at the right time is really critical. And that's something that I do too. You know, I consciously take care of my mental health as well. What's the most important thing to do in managing a team? Okay, I often, when I talk to managers about the glitches and the challenges that sometimes happen in their teams, you know, one of the things that really comes through is the need for clear communication, setting clear expectations and giving timely feedback. It's something that I do a lot of work with leaders on, and one of the key things is to tackle issues early. So we've probably, you may have heard about things like having courageous conversations and bold conversations with people, and it's my belief that, you know, we need to start by having kind conversations with people and setting clear expectations. And if there is a problem, you know, sitting down and saying, hey, I've noticed this, can we talk about it? Rather than leaving things. So often I see things that are left and left and left because people are worried about having a conversation. They feel uncomfortable about it, and so they ignore it. And so then the problem just gets worse. And so what I would say is the most important thing to do in managing a team is keep that clear communication, and also get to know what the strengths are of the people in your team. And if you're looking for some help with that, I can help you with that. But get to know the strengths of the people in your team, talk about them, and look at how you can leverage those strengths to get the best out of them. The research shows that we don't get the best results when we spend our time focusing on trying to fix our weaknesses. Instead, we get better results when we use our strengths to manage our weaknesses. Okay, and the last question, what's the most important piece of advice you've received in running a successful business? I think the most important advice I was given was by another small business owner who is here in my network, and he basically said to me, don't wait for perfection, start somewhere. So, you know, I was really worried about setting up the perfect website and having, you know, everything looking great, and you know, if you wait for perfection, you'll just never get off the ground. So my advice would be, you know, start somewhere, and that can be anything. That can be whether it's a new product or, you know, something different that you want to do. And I thought that was a really great piece of advice. So I hope that some of what I've shared has been helpful. I would love to connect with people who are part of this network. Drop us a line, get in touch. Would love to have more conversations with people who are part of this group and also beyond. So I'll say bye for now.